Hey, Claire here again. I thought I'd talk a little bit about um, social media and living in a digital world. Now, we hear a lot of the negative stuff about social media, and I have to say, I'm not a particularly big fan of some of it. But equally, I don't think it's all bad necessarily. I think it's the way we're using it and some of the habits, cultural habits, if you like, that have developed over the last few years. Um, I think that comparing and despairing, the fear of missing out, the imposter syndrome, feeling inadequate in comparison to others, not being good enough, all of that stuff has been around forever. In some shape or form, it's been around forever. Looking outwards for ideas of what constitutes success, benchmarks for success, ideas of what will make us happy, all of that. But social media and digital have allowed this to be ramped right up. Like, we've got noise, external noise coming at us 24/7. And that stuff isn't balanced. What we're exposed to isn't balanced. It isn't real, or it might be real, but it certainly doesn't show all sides to the coin, so to speak. And we kind of know this, right? But at the same time, it's very difficult not to be had by it. And I was thinking about this today, and one of the things that's come up for me is when we go out into the world, when we're offline, so to speak, we have different levels of, this is going to sound quite rude, exposing ourselves. And what I mean by that is, when you're with your bestie or really close friends and family, you're far more vulnerable than you would be if you were spending time with your work colleagues or your boss, or an acquaintance or a neighbour. And that's appropriate, right? You're holding certain things back to keep yourself safe, and it is appropriate for a social situation. It's social etiquette, so to speak. The thing is, now we are living more transient lives, so our besties, close friends, may not be living in the same town as us, and so we're not necessarily practicing that vulnerability, that being real on a regular basis. And coupled with that, we're spending a lot of our time on social, online connection. And that tends to involve different levels of connection, from your bestie through to your boss, in one place. Now, it's so important that we are real and we are vulnerable and we share common experiences, so we facilitate and we create deep levels of connection, because connection is such a fundamental human need. We need it to be well. We die earlier if we don't get it. We're not connected if we don't feel connected. But we're not going to be as real and as vulnerable. We're not going to share as much of ourselves if all of our friends are lumped in one box. We're going to put up the mask. We're going to put up the veneer. I'm not prepared to flash my arse to some of my social media friends, because I don't know them. Some of them I've never met in person. Why would I do that? But the issue is, it trains us to never be vulnerable, to hold back all of ourselves, all of the time. Because everyone's doing that. We never get to share experience. We never get to feel normal. Because what we're feeling inside doesn't necessarily match with what we're putting out into the world and what other people are putting out into the world. You know, there are times when I feel really overwhelmed with Facebook. I'll own that. It just feels like it's coming at me all the time. And I feel exposed. You know, people can see when I'm on there, for Christ's sake. People can actually see when I'm on there. And if somebody shares something that is quite profound, or heartfelt, or I don't know, if they put something, if they post something, I feel an element of responsibility, a level of responsibility to like it or to respond to it in some way. And that creates stress. You know, it's a bit like, oh, on the treadmill, this stuff's coming at you. It's a feed all of the time. Gotta like it, gotta like it, gotta like it, gotta share it, gotta share it, gotta like it. And I'm not particularly good at putting my own stuff out on social media at the moment. Personal stuff. So when I do post, it's like comes out of the ether. Like, you know, if I've got 5 minutes, I'm at the airport, I'm going to post a holiday photo. Well, that's not reason. That's not real. That doesn't reflect my life. You know, it doesn't reflect, you know, the 2 months before thinking, oh my goodness, I can't pay for the fucking holiday, or the you know, the fact that we didn't make it to the airport, or whatever it is. It doesn't reflect that. It's just a moment in time that's been sort of captured, cut, edited and airbrushed and posted onto social. So how can we be more vulnerable? How can we feel more normal? And how can we start to look more inside rather than to outside for guidance and direction? I kind of think that it's possible. I think we can play in this world. I think we can enjoy this world and not be had by it. And that's why I'd like to create an antidote. An antidote that means we can take all of this in and it just will have very little effect, if no effect at all. It'll bounce off. So that's what I'm working at the moment. See you later.